Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I think, you know what, we could have the greatest of technology, greatest of apps, greatest of infrastructure. If it cannot be used, it's useless. Fundamentally, I have a cell phone, and if it keeps dropping every mile, what's the point? You know, the basic thing is we need to create the infrastructure which is reliable and cheap. Because we talked about the street hawkers, right? I mean, the street hawkers use their cell phones very well. They place their orders using messaging. You know, forget about even apps. WhatsApp is an app. They use WhatsApp to do the messaging. But once again, you need data. And what it relies is the cities to provide some form of uniform, reliable, and cost-effective data for people to use. That's the first and foremost step. The second part of it is there are plenty of apps. Like Mr. Ambassador said, you know, my iPhone also is full of apps. But if I live in a city like Gurgaon, why should I have 100 apps? Why not make it simple for me to say, here is Gurgaon, and I click on it and it gives me all the options that I need to communicate and fundamentally make use of it, because I, for one, cannot remember which app to go to for every single thing. And yes, my previous panel talked about 43 different people interacting with the cities or interacting with the citizens. Why can't we make it one for interaction with the citizens? You know, and as simple as Estonia, I don't think, you know, it will take us eons to get there, but I think that should be a fundamental thing of, you know, India's planning for smart cities is, I don't need to run to these different agencies to give a change of address. I can do it in one place. That is where we need to get smart in terms of, you know, applications, applicability, and so on and so forth. Simplicity is the way to make people smart. Simplicity is the way for governments and the cities to connect with people. The third is about pride. I mean, somebody mentioned, you know, how do we make people smart? First, get rid of the cynicism, right? Cynicism goes away when I know, you know, what I'm using, what is given to me is reliable. The second is the two-way communication, which talks about, I hear you. And by the way, when I hear you, I'm going to give you this back in return. You know, while Pune is going through a transition right now in terms of, you know, smartifying their city, there have been, you know, they've been using apps to actually communicate with the citizens. It's been a two-way feedback mechanism to be able to do it. But yes, we do have mechanisms in terms of, you know, sending in, yes, sir, the commissioner talked about, you know, sending a picture and sending it back. But the key thing is this. How do I know my issue has been taken, I've been heard, and something is being done about it? I think that is the criticality in terms of making anything work is whatever application or whatever systems are built, there has to be a mechanism in terms of saying, yes, I've heard you, and here's what I'm doing for you. And that's where you get rid of and make people smart, because remember, no matter how much advertising is done on TV or newspapers or whatever it is, viral is the way things are done. Because my neighbor tells me, hey, why did you run to the BSNL? Here's this nice app that you could use. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use that. And I'm going to spread the word out to 100 different people. And yes, pilots, you know, I totally agree. Time for pilots are over. There is enough technology. You know, if it's not in India, it's abroad. I mean, we have enough people going out and being able to do it. And I think it's time for execution, time for consolidation. And one example I'll use is, think about the street lamps. I mean, somebody brought it up, and I've been thinking about this all the time, because in the US, my street lamp has a Wi-Fi router. My street lamp has a camera. My street lamp has energy sensors. All on one street lamp, right? I don't have multiple poles there and so on and so forth. How nice would it be to consolidate infrastructure and use it in such a way that it benefits all? We're talking about cell towers, you know, the reason for call drops in Delhi is cell towers. But why not use the existing infrastructure instead of trying to put these expensive things around the buildings. So I leave you with this food for thought. As most of you read in the newspapers, Microsoft launched their public cloud centers yesterday. And like the ambassador said, I mean, sharing of data is what drives innovation in the country. And the second thing is, I will leave you with a quick example, is in Hyderabad, we have just piloted a big data pilot where we are able to tell the schools when a particular child is going to drop out. Think about the power of technology. Think about the power of public data, which can be used to predict stuff. Thank you.